So good evening, everyone. I'm Hannah from the Blue Hill Library, and I just wanted to welcome everyone to our fifth and final installment of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol in collaboration with St. Francis by the Sea Episcopal Church. Many thanks to them and to all of our readers across the last 5 weeks for bringing this story to life. And I encourage everybody, if you want to get a good sort of dramatic view, to put your Zoom call on speaker mode so that you'll just see whoever's talking as opposed to the whole gallery of squares. If you're on a computer, that's usually in the upper right corner. You can change the view. If you're on a mobile device, it may be down on the bottom where all the different options are. And yeah, I'm gonna ask folks who are not in a scene, if you think you can manage it, to mute yourself so that we have the best audio quality we can get. But if you're worried that you're gonna forget to unmute yourself, then just leave your audio on, that's fine. And for the audience members to please stay muted until the end. And let's get started with folks going around and just introduce yourself and say which part you're reading tonight. Tyler, why don't we start with you?
I'm Tyler Knowles, and I'm from Blue Hill, and I'm reading The Narrator, which I am hoping I can get through to the end without a tear, but I'm not sure about that.
How about Dennis?
I'm Scrooge, and I will dry Tyler's tear towards the end.
Thank you, Dennis.
Melissa? Oh, you're muted, Melissa.
Sorry about that. Melissa Lalonde, and I am taking the part of the boy.
Great. And how about Bill?
I'm Bill Gould, and I am Bob Cratchit.
Excellent. Barbara? Let's see. Barbara, you want to unmute yourself?
Sure.
I'm Barbara Waz, and I'm Scrooge's nephew.
Great. And Matt?
I'm Matt Murphy, and I'm the gentleman from the Charitable Benevolence Society, or something to that effect. And I too will try to get through my lines without shedding tears.
This is an emotional one tonight. And last but not least, Jane.
I'm Jane Heisman. I live in Blue Hill, and I am Girl.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining us. And whenever you're ready, Tyler, why don't you take it away?
Okay, here we go. This is stave 5. Yes, and the bedpost was his own. The bed was his own. The room was his own. Best and happiness of all, the time before him was his own, to make amends in.
I will live in the past, the present, and the future, Scrooge repeated as he scrambled out of bed. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. Oh, Jacob Marley, heaven, and the Christmas time be praised for that. I say it on my knees, old Jacob, on my knees.
He was so fluttered and so glowing with his good intentions that his broken voice would scarcely answer to his call. He'd been sobbing violently in conflict with the spirit, and his face was wet with tears.
They are not torn down, they are not torn down, rings and all, they are here. I am here. The shadows of things that would have been may be dispelled. They will be. I know they will.
His hands were busy with his garments all this time, turning inside out, putting them on upside down, tearing them, mislaying them, making them parties to every kind of extravagance.
I don't know what to do, cried Scrooge, laughing and crying at the same breath, and making a perfect lacoon of himself with his stockings. I am as light as a feather. I am as happy as an angel. I am as merry as a schoolboy. I am as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world. Hello there. Whoop. Hello.
He had frisked into the sitting room and was now standing there perfectly winded.
There's the saucepan that the gruel was in. There's the door by which the ghost of Jacob Marley entered. There's the corner where the ghost of Christmas present sat. There's the window where I saw the wandering spirits. It's all right. It's all true. It all happened.
Really, for a man who had been out of practice for so many years, it was a splendid laugh, a most illustrious laugh. The father of a long, long line of brilliant laughs.
I don't know what day of the month it is. I don't know how long I've been among the spirits. I don't know anything. I'm quite a baby. Never mind, I don't care. I'd rather be a baby. Hello, whoop, hello there.
He was checked in his transports by the churches, ringing out the lustiest bells he had ever heard. Clash, clang, hammer, ding, dong, bell, bell, dong, ding, hammer, clang, clash. Oh, glorious, glorious. Running to the window, he opened it and put out his head. No fog, no mist, clear, bright, jovial, stirring, cold, cold, piping for the blood to dance to. Golden sunlight, heavenly sky, sweet, fresh air, merry bells. Oh, glorious, glorious.
What's today?
A,
What's today, my fine fellow?
today, White Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done all in one night. They can't do anything they like. Of course they can. Of course they can. Hello, my fine fellows.
Hello.
Do you know the poulterers in the next street, but one at the corner?
I should hope I did.
An intelligent boy, a remarkable boy. Do you know whether they sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there? Not the little prize turkey, the big one.
What? The one as big as me?
What a delightful boy. It's a pleasure to talk to him. Yes, my buck.
It's hanging there now.
It is. Go and buy it.
Walker.
No, I am in earnest. Go and buy it and tell them to bring it here, that I may give them the direction where to take it. Come back with the man and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes and I'll give you half a crown.
The boy was off like a shot. He must have had a steady hand at a trigger who could have gotten a shot off half as fast.
I'll send it to Bob Cratchit.
Scrooge rubbed his hands and split with a laugh.
Ha ha, she don't know who sends it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. Joe Miller never made such a joke as sending it to Bob's will be.
The hand in which he wrote the address was not a steady one, but write it he did somehow and went downstairs to open the street door, ready for the coming of the poulterer's man. As he stood there, waiting his arrival, the knocker caught his eye.
I shall love it as long as I live. I scarcely never looked at it before. What an honest expression it has on its face. It's a wonderful knocker. Where's the turkey? Hello, whoop. How are you? Merry Christmas.
It was a turkey. He could never have stood upon his legs, that bird. He would have snapped them off short in a minute, like sticks of sealing wax.
Why, it's impossible to carry that to Camden Town. You must have a cab.
The chuckle with which he said this, and the chuckle with which he paid for the turkey, and the chuckle with which he paid for the cab, and the chuckle with which he recompensed the boy, were only to be exceeded by the chuckle with which he sat down breathless in his chair again. and chuckled till he cried. Shaving was not an easy task, for his hand continued to shake very much, and shaving requires attention, even when you don't dance while you're at it. But if he'd cut the end of his nose off, he would have put a piece of sticky plaster over it and been quite satisfied. He dressed himself all in his best, and at last got out into the streets. The people were by this time pouring forth as he had seen them with the ghost of Christmas present. And walking with his hands behind him, Scrooge regarded everyone with a delighted smile. He looked so irresistibly pleasant, in a word, that 3 or 4 good human fellows said, "Good morning, sir, and Merry Christmas to you." And Scrooge said often afterwards that of all the blithe sounds he had ever heard, those were the blithest he had ever heard. He had not gone far when, coming on toward him, he beheld the portly gentleman who had walked into his counting house the day before and said, "Scrooge and Marley, I believe." It sent a pang across his heart to think how this old gentleman would look upon him when they met. But he knew which path lay straight before him, and he took it.
Scrooge.
Do you know the Poulters in the next street?
Wait. Here, right here. No.
Whoop.
Okay.
My dear sir, how do you do? I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Mr. Scrooge?
Yes, that is my name. And if it may not be pleasant to you, allow me to ask your pardon. And will you have the goodness?
Scrooge whispered in his ear.
Lord bless me. My dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious?
If you please, not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it. But I assure you, will you do me a favor?
My dear sir, I don't know what to say about such
Don't say anything, please. Come and see. Will you come and see me?
I will.
Thank you. I'm very much obliged to you. Thank you 50 times. Bless you.
He went to church and walked about the streets and watched the people hurrying to and fro, and patted children on the head and questioned beggars, and looked down into the kitchens of houses and up to the windows, and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that any walk, that anything could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps towards his nephew's house. He passed the door a dozen times before he had the courage to go up and knock. But he made a dash and did it.
Is your master at home, my dear?
Yes, sir.
Where is he, my love?
He's in the dining room, sir, along with the mistress. I'll show you upstairs if you please.
Thank ye. He knows me. I'll go in there, my dear.
He turned it gently and sidled his face in round the door. They were looking at the table, which was spread out in great array, for these young housekeepers are always nervous on such points and like to see that everything is right.
Fred.
Dear heart alive, how his niece by marriage started. Scrooge had forgotten for the moment about her sitting in the corner with the footstool, or he wouldn't have done it on any account.
Why, bless my soul. Who's that?
It's I, your Uncle Scrooge. I have come to dinner. Will you let me in, Fred?
Let him in? It is a mercy he didn't shake his arms off. He was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could be heartier. His niece looked just the same. So did Topper when he came. So did the plump sister when she came. So did everyone when they came. Wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful unanimity, wonderful happiness. But he was early at the office next morning. Oh, he was early there. If he could only be the first and catch Bob Cratchit coming late, that was the thing he had set his heart upon. And he did it Yes, he did. The clock struck 9. No, Bob. 1/4 past. No, Bob. He was full 18 minutes and a half behind his time. Scrooge sat with his door wide open that he might see him come into the tank. His hat was off before he opened the door, his comforter too. He was on his stool in a jiffy, driving away with his pen as if he were trying to overtake 9 o'clock.
Hello. What do you mean by coming here at this time of day?
I am very sorry, sir. I am behind my time.
You are. Yes, I think you are. Step this way, sir, if you please.
It's only once a year, sir. I shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir.
Now, I'll tell you what, my friend. I'm not going to stand this sort of thing any longer. Oops.
Keep going, Dennis.
Oh,
Oh, wait a
the
minute.
narrator didn't speak.
Okay.
And therefore, I'm about to raise your salary.
Bob trembled and got a little nearer to the ruler. He had a momentary idea of knocking Scrooge down with it, holding him and calling to the people of the court for help. And his great waistcoat.
A Merry Christmas, Bob.
Scrooge spoke with an earnestness that could not be mistaken as he clapped him on the back.
A merrier Christmas, Bob, my good fellow, than I have given you for many years. I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we will discuss your affairs this very afternoon over a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop. Bob, make up the fires and buy another coal scuttle before you dot another I. Bob Cratchit.
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he was a second father. He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh and little heeded them. For he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on this globe for good, at which some people did not have their fill of laughter in the outset. And knowing that such as these would be blind anyway, he thought it quite as well they should wrinkle up their eyes in grins as have the malady in less attractive forms. His own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further intercourse with spirits, but lived upon the total abstinence principle ever afterwards. And it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be truly said of us and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. The end.
Oh, wonderful.
Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyler, and everyone. And I want to invite everybody